Hi, and welcome back to MyExcelOnline.com. Today we are going to go over how to write a module in Microsoft Access. Now, a module is simply a collection of VBA code that is used to do certain actions inside of Microsoft Access. Now, VBA stands for Visual Basic for Applications, and it is the coding language behind Microsoft Access as well as other Microsoft products such as Word and Excel. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Excel and Office, join our Academy online course and access more than 1,000 video training tutorials so that you can advance your level and get the promotions, pay raises, or new jobs. The link to join our Academy online course is in the description. So how do I go about running code inside of Microsoft Access? Well, usually code is run off of a form. So I'm going to go into our main menu using the parts database that we've been using up until now. And I'm going to right click and go to Design View. Now in here, I already have a button right here. And I can click on this button and run some code. But if I were to go up to Form Design and select the text box right here, I can click and draw on my form and create a text box. So let's say I would like to run some code after I enter some data inside of my text box. If you look over here at the property sheet for my text box, you will see that there's a tab here called Event. And this is a very important tab. When I look through the options on the Event tab, you will see some actions that can be taken on this text box. I have on click, before update, after update, on change, etc. These actions are called events. And an event happens when a user interacts with the form. So if I were to click on the text box on the form, I would be running the on-click event. But in this case, I want to do something after I update the text box. But one thing I want to do before that is go over to this All tab and just rename the name of this text box to txt test code. And then I'm going to go back to the Event tab. So if I go down here to After Update, and I go over here to these three dots, I will have three options come up: a macro builder, an expression builder, and a code builder. In the case of a module, I want to double click on the code builder. And you will see that I have been taken to the Visual Basic for Applications window. And let's go over what this is right here. Do you see the words private sub and end sub? This is a subroutine. And what is this subroutine for? Well, it's for the text box, txt test code, and the information following this underscore here is the event for this text box. So in this case, it's txt test code, the after update event. Also, if I go up here in this little drop down, you can see everything that I have on this form. And if I click on this drop down, you can see all the events that I have for my selected text box. So let's do something right here. Let's send a message box that says test code. And then I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to right click on my form, and I'm going to go to Form View. Now I'm going to type in this text box, test, and hit enter. And you will see that a message box did appear as soon as I hit enter, because after I hit enter, I am updating this text box right here. And so I'm just going to say OK. Now I'm going to go back to Design View, and I'm going to go back to my code window. You can also, on your keyboard, hit Alt F11 and get back to the VBA window as well. If you are liking this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell button to get notified when we release our weekly videos. So let's look at a few things over here. You can see my forms that I have some code for over here in this window, which is called the Project Explorer. Down here, this is called the Immediate window. I can keep track of variables in my code, but that is a little outside the scope of what we're doing today. And then this box right here is the code window that we were just talking about. So if I wanted to run the same code over and over again, what I could do is take this message box code, and I'm going to hit Control X to cut that code. And then I'm going to right click over here and go to Insert, Module. And then I'm going to look at this window here. This window here that appears is the code for this module itself. So let's see if I put here public sub send message, and then if I paste in the code I have cut earlier, what I have done here is I have put my code into a central location, into a subroutine called send message. So if I go back to the code for my main menu form, and this time instead of putting the message box, I'm just going to write send message. And let's close this and see what happens. So when I right click here and go to form view, I'm going to put a 1 after my test and hit enter, and you can see I am getting my message box again. But why would I want to put my code inside of a module instead of in my form? Well, the reason I would want to do that is if I want to reuse the same code over and over again. So I have a parts form here. I'm going to right click on this and go to design view. And on this parts form, I'm going to go up to form design, click on this button right here, and just draw a button on the top of my form, and I'll just cancel out of the wizard that comes up. And if I go to the on-click event here for this button and hit these 3 dots and select Code Builder, this time I'm going to put in the send message code again. And I do want to point out one thing right here. I forgot to rename my command button, so I got the default name of command 14. And that isn't really self-explanatory, so that's the reason why you want to name the objects that you put on a form before you write code for them. But I wanted to show you what happens if you didn't do that. So if I close out of here and I right click on the parts form and go to form view and click the button, you can see I'm now running that same exact code. So I'm going to go back to design view and click these 3 dots right here to get back to my code. Now, see my module 1 right here? If I double click on that, that's where my send message code is. So I'm going to go up to the save button right here. And I'm being asked if I want to save the changes to my form. Sure, I'll save those. But look right here, module 1 is also being saved. So if I say yes, I will now be prompted to name my module. So I'm just going to call this test module and say OK. And now when I close this window and I go back to Access, you can see that my code for the module is actually appearing here underneath my objects. So if I double click on test module, I will be brought right back to that send message code. So if I change this code to put 3 Z's after it, and I save this, and I go back to my database, when I run my parts form by going to form view, and I run this, you can see I'm getting the ZZZ. And if I say OK and go back to my main menu, and I update this text box, I'm also getting the ZZZ. So I only had to change my code in one place in order to have that change show up everywhere where I'm calling the send message subroutine. There is so much more you can do with VBA code. The purpose of this video was just to give you an introduction of what VBA is and why you might start wanting to use it. We will have many, many more VBA codes eventually in our Access series, so keep a lookout for those sometime in the fall. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching and see you again next time. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Excel and Office, join our Academy online course and access more than 1,000 video training tutorials so that you can advance your level and get the promotions, pay raises, or new jobs. The link to join our Academy online course is in the description.
If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're really serious about advancing your Microsoft Excel skills so you can stand out from the crowd and get the jobs, promotions and pay rises that you deserve, then click up here and join our Academy online course today.